Thanks for staying with us. This week, President Muhammadu Buhari directed the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, to resolve the prolonged strike embarked upon by the 4 university-based unions and report back to him in 2 weeks, which is 14 days. He gave the directive after he received briefings from the relevant government ministries, agencies, and departments involving in resolving the face-off with the university unions. 4 weeks, which is 29 days down the line, it appears there is no end in sight, as the latest round of negotiation between ASUU and the federal government ended in a deadlock at about 3 p.m. yesterday. Now, the question is, who will break the deadlock between the federal government and ASUU since the 14th of February? You can join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948 or tweet to us using the hashtag TVCConnect. This issue of ASUU since the 14th of February, we have been going back and forth. They've been having meetings upon meetings. Committees have been set. There was a committee, I can't remember the exact name now, before this Nimi Briggs Committee that has been set. And one of the issues ASUU had or complained about was the fact that they come together, they come up with these meetings, make their recommendations, and the federal government will say, we'll get back to you. And then they go back. And the latest anger I was reading in the papers yesterday was the fact that the federal government was bringing it down to just their salaries. We pay you people, increase your salaries, and you can go back to the classroom. But as we're saying, this is beyond just salaries. We're fighting a fight that will benefit the country entirely. Please, what are your thoughts on this latest meeting, first of all, and the deadlock? No headway.
It's so sad that the meeting ended in a deadlock. When you have a crisis, I remember I did a course on arbitration and conflict resolution, and in the course they mentioned that you look for beneficiaries of a war. When you try ending a crisis and you cannot end the crisis, look at the beneficiaries. If you find who the beneficiaries are, they are the ones you talk to. They might not be directly involved in the war, but you talk to them. You are able to stop the benefits from flowing to them. We have beneficiaries in this crisis. The beneficiaries are the people who own private institutions. Sure. They are benefiting. So the conversation also is the beneficiary, the people that are at the ends of making the decision are not in any way directly impacted by whether it works or it doesn't work. So this decision, we cannot talk to ASUU about it. ASUU has declared these are the challenges we are facing. Any palliative you give us will still continue to make it worse. It's like you have a wound. If we don't deal with it, it will be amputation. And you are saying, let me just bandage it for you. That's where I see the analogy I see from ASUU's side. We have been bandaging this thing. If we don't deal with this thing now, it's amputation.
It will rot, yeah.
And the amputation will not affect the leaders that are making the decision. So who are the people that are involved in this conflict? We have our ministers, our negotiators, who have nothing at stake, aside the fact that maybe they will lose the election, and they really know it might not affect the election. Until we Nigerians make our leaders understand the impact on our lives, we are not going to deal with the issue. It is far-reaching, and this is a deeper look that I believe everybody should have. I was listening to radio this morning, and somebody was saying that even ASUU chefs should shift. Why is ASUU grandstanding?
Wow.
And here is the thing. Being a Nigerian does not mean that you will continue to collect whatever is thrown at you because you have no standard. So we have been managing, and our public universities, I went through public universities. The average politician that we have right now went to public universities, but they dare not allow their children go through the same thing. What did you do to change the situation? It starts from leadership taking responsibility for what has gone wrong and making a decision that whatever it takes, we are going to fix it until you give a deadline. If you think you can finish it in 1 week, you finish it in 1 week. If you give yourself 1 year, you finish it in 1 year. Let the government get a deadline from Nigerian people to fix this issue. It is not just this that is an impeachable offense, insecurity. The Senate and the House of Reps should make an impeachable move on the president if students remain at home. This is 6 months down the line.
6 months down the line. Wow.
How do you expect them to cope? How will the parents manage? I have a student that is working in my organization because the school is on strike. I can imagine if she wasn't working with me, what would she have been doing? And there are several of them that are doing nothing. Yeah. They will go to crime. We will have more challenges to deal with.
Just lazing around. There's nothing to
There's
do.
no seriousness. I don't see seriousness on the part of our government. And I'm with ASUU on this one.
Nima.
I wanted to try to not be with ASUU, but it's almost impossible. I think they came to the meeting with a deadlock mindset as government, yes. So that's why the meeting, all the meetings end in deadlock. Because, government is the person who can change things. The person who we have voted to manage our common resources to change things. ASUU is an institution or a representative of, our educational sector asking government improve infrastructure. Yeah. And every time you go to the meeting, there's a deadlock. They came to a meeting with a deadlock
mindset,
so that there will be no solution. ASUU is clear from 2009 till date, about what they want. One key outstanding one before UTAS and IPPIS featured was improve our public institutions of learning, grow our institutions. We are not up to date. Education is changing around the world. The same government will say unemployable youth. Use that to describe the product of these institutions, but refuse to invest in those institutions to make it up to date. So individually, Nigerians now, there was a funny meme on, a joke on Twitter about Nigerian banks not having tech
staff
experts.
Yeah, I saw it.
All the tech experts who took their personal funds to train themselves online and outside the country have relocated. So they will soon start hiring them as expatriates to come and work in the banks. So this form of our education, our government, our educational policy makers are not up to date about artificial intelligence, new modern forms of education, new modern areas of knowledge and growth. They are not. And ASUU is screaming, update us, don't leave us as we are. We can't remain stagnant. And the same people will then say, okay, institutions should put an age gap on employment. Of course, you are only advocating private universities. Just as we had the private institution come and water down our public schools in primary and secondary. So you're doing the same thing, saying, find an alternative, On Monday, I think, we had the topic here. And I kept saying, that alternative is not for everybody. Yeah. We are a country of over 200 million people. If you put that alternative in front of us, you will tell the larger number. Somebody came out the other and said, education is not for everybody. It's not. Even minimum education right now is not for everybody. Apart from Lagos State, we cannot boast of other states where we say their public secondary schools are doing well. They have good products. We can't. So a government should be worried. Government should be on ASUU's side, ASUU on the other side right now. Government should be the one saying, ASUU, you're not growing fast. This is where we want. This is the new department we are creating. Not just asking private institutions to come and create those, establish them as a waiver for taxes. They should be on ASUU's side. Every of such meeting, there's a deadlock. The one that paid me most is that the president finally, seems like he has heard that ASUU has been on how many months straight. Just like he just heard. He now gave a directive to the Minister of Education. Give me, you have 2 weeks to give me a report on this. After the meeting, when the report came, what did you see? So lip service again. They come to the meeting with a mindset of deadlock.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on the ASUU issue. I've always suspected that it seems to me like the government is not really serious about our educational system because they are not directly involved in the ripple effects of having their children stay at home for a long time. And you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot give what you cannot understand. You're not able to empathize with someone when you have not felt what is happening to that person. Everything you say would be lip service. And all over the world, it seems to us that it's Nigeria that gives very little in budgets when it comes to education. And these people have been clamoring that we need to upgrade, like Nima said. We need to update ourselves, and nothing is happening. Tope, how do we begin to hold our leaders accountable, hold them accountable to understand that if they don't solve the issue of education, it will filter down to insecurity? Because we have a lot of people who are idle, who will go to the streets and begin to take up one crime or the other. If we do not solve the issue of education, it will affect our economy as a whole. People are not able to think up solutions to solve the problems that we have. So education is basically like the bedrock we need to have some of these things, have creative minds, think up ideas that will move the economy forward. How do we explain to our leaders?
So, my husband laughs, he will say, Tokwe goes to school. As a student, you know, studying business and leadership.
Tokwe, I won't want to miss your point. Let's take Mamza from Nasarawa, and I'll come back to you.
Yes.
Oh, we lost him. Sorry. So go ahead, Tokwe.
You know, I am in school, and the first 2 weeks, we're just talking about ethics, impact, integrity, as in all that we're doing. And sometimes I feel like, are we still discussing this same business ethics? Because your values shape your decisions, and your decisions have a far-reaching impact on your world.
Values.
So if I choose as an individual to make my business all-for-profit business, regardless of anything going on, what would happen is the impact of my decision would affect my society.
Yeah.
If I say I want to buy a generator and point it into a school beside me, because I just feel I don't want the smoke in my area, I am going to be giving children cough, cancer in future, and that's my selfishness. So our individual values as leaders, I've said this before, everybody, as you are picking up a form to become a politician or to contest for a position, you should go through basic leadership school. And you must be grilled to ensure you pass. Because if you don't understand the impact of your decision or indecision on every other human being, then you will not know. Now, another part is empathy.
Before I come to empathy, let's take Ade London. I'm coming back to you, Tokwe. Good morning, Ade.
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
We're doing amazing, sir.
The truth must be told. When this administration comes to power, they appointed Professor in the Ministry of Education as the Minister of State, and they put a master holder on top of the professor. They started fighting. So the man didn't come back. The man must be fighting for something better. Adamu has a different vision. That apart, my last born, which is my last daughter, attended the same university with our president's daughter in Southern University. And at the first time, when you come there, 8 of you, 8 rooms, 8 students per flat. Give a kitchen, freezer, everybody share it. Everything is there. That is how university should be. In Nigeria, they will be looking for water. They'll be working for no light, nothing. They will be suffering. The hygiene is very poor. So how would they care? Their children are here.
Yeah.
How would Adamu care? This is the problem we're having in Nigeria. That is the truth. So they don't care about that. And this will affect FG in the coming election. Bless Nigeria.
Thank you, Ade.
So,
empathy.
You know, as a single girl, I had a few friends who's had children. I've heard about miscarriages. I've heard about people having stillbirths or all of that.
Oh, you didn't get it.
I did not understand because it's never been my experience. And when I got pregnant and I had a miscarriage, it was different. When I see anybody pregnant, it's not conscious, I pray. Because I understand that this is a life or death situation. I can only feel that way because I went through something like that. Empathy is not something you can buy. You must wear the shoes. Even if you are the kindest person in the world, your reaction will be different when you feel it.
Yeah, true.
I have friends that they do. Mariah never vomited when she was pregnant. If you see the vomiting, she'll say, hey, yeah. But when I see you vomiting, girl, I know what you're going through. I know it is not by your fault. I know that it's not what you feel like. Our leaders cannot understand what the parents and the children that are, and the people that are off school for 6 months, what they are going through. They can never understand because there is no politician, and please prove me wrong, if you are a politician in Nigeria and your child is in a public school,
let us know.
Please let us know, because until you are in that place, you cannot empathize. And if you cannot empathize, you cannot solve the problem. You need to get into the trenches and understand what they are feeling. And then you will understand that I don't care. Whatever it is, get these people back in school. Get these people back in school. What do you want us to give them? Where will we get the money from? Let us find the money anyhow and give these people. So school. That's how you solve a problem, because you understand the impact of what you're doing.
Let's take this call. Mohammed from Zaria. Good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning. You see, the foot of the matter on this ASUU strike is the president, who is the chief, and who is the... Hello, are you with me?
We can hear you.
Go
ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that people keep blaming the ministers, the committee, or whatever, ASUU strike. The truth of the matter, the president, from his body language, does not have the will to solve the ASUU strike. It is very clear that education is not in his priority list. The issue of whether
Education is not in his priority.
all his children are all from you. So he has no business. He is a very deceptive person. He deceived Nigerians. All his clips are going around on all the challenges made on Twitter. What commitment is shown to
The line is muffled.
The line is
Yeah,
not
I
clear.
can't really get him. The line. I just heard that maybe it's not the priority of education is not the priority of the president.
Obviously,
Nima.
from action, you can tell a person's intention. If it was priority, we won't be here. So, adding to Tokwe's points of empathy and the previous one on ethical leadership, I wanted to add the love, sincerely. Nigeria has been bedeviled with leaders who do not love their people and the land they are from. The UK deliberately, I'm not even going to go America and all of that, deliberately created what they call educational tourism, marketed it. I hated, while in public universities and at the law school, how British universities will come, private British universities, not even their public ones, and come and market it. One person in white suit will come and tell us how it is the best place to have a master's, and how they are highly priced in the Nigerian employment market. And every leader who is from Nigeria did not find it irritating that Talele, who are you? Who are these people? He didn't pain them. Now, there was an alternative. We saw that education was growing. And we started to say education abroad was better than here. And it did not pain any of our leaders, not even the present one. Every leader to 2009, to 1999, in fact. Before that, to the military, let's just say the military, they didn't value education, but before that, none of them, it didn't pain them that, what do we do? Is it that I must do that my own people will not remain backwards compared to this forwardness I consider forwardness in another person's country? And that's how we are here, where we are today. They do not love for themselves what they love for others. So you selfishly carry your own side and say, I can afford it. And it starts with our elites. If any government comes into power today and say, let's consume local, the elites will say, but I can afford it. Why do I have to suffer? Why do my child have to suffer? This is not for me. I am more privileged. And they will say it's hating on. For you to tell them that alternative has to be short. And because they all are taking their children abroad, education, of course, will not be a priority to a government whose ASUU continues to strike. Who has an option. In fact, somebody sent us the breakdown on our group, the production, I think producer sent it. ASUU only did not go on strike in 2021. They've always gone on strike. Yeah, we know. There has always been issues to deal with. And if you come and the issues that you address every time when ASUU is on strike is salary, you're not the serious government. You're not ready. You're not ready at all. I'll come back to you, Nima. Let's take this call. Ladeji. Good morning, Ladeji.
Good morning. How are you, ladies?
We are fine, ma.
The Lord bless your efforts in bringing Nigeria to senses.
Amen.
And the Lord bless all your husbands that allow you on this program.
Thank you, ma.
And it shall be well with you always.
Amen. Amen.
You know something, Nigerian government is not interested in anybody's progress, only them. And I am so saddened that Nigerians are just looking at them as far as education is concerned. I thought especially mothers would have been on the road now, half naked, going to National Assembly, standing in front of Asorof. Let us see how many of us they can kill. You know, it is very sad. We are just helpless. They are doing us anyhow. They want to turn these children into nonsense, into bandits, into all sorts of things, so that they will remain on top of us. Look, let me tell you, before we retired from University of Jos, my husband as a lecturer, in those days, children go anywhere all over the world from our universities, especially medical doctors. And they don't have to write any nonsense exam anywhere. They just sit in, Please, this thing, we cannot allow this thing to continue. Please, you know, you have better heads than me. I'm an old woman. Please, tell us. Let us hear from you people. What is the way forward? We cannot. ASUU is trying, because I have ASUU friends that if you see them now, they are just nonsense. They can hardly eat, but they still continue with this strike. I see only ASUU have children in the West. Some of them have children abroad, and they can do anyhow, but they are suffering for the rest of us, for Nigerians to be better. It's not only how much is their salary, how much are they paying them. In recent times, they said the judiciary will be taking 10 million naira per month. National Assembly is taking, I don't know how many billions they go up in 1 year. Education, we balance in Nigeria, that we make us where we were before. We were 1 naira to 1 pound, 1 naira to $2 before. Where are we now? Please help. God bless you. Please bring the idea. Let us know how we are going to join in this fight. The Lord bless you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ladeji. So, let's take a short break, please. When we come back, we take more phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So some persons have said that ASUU is fighting for their pockets. But I beg to disagree, because with the new, discussion on the table, which is we'll pay you, we'll increase your salary so that you can go back to school. They are saying this is not about, in fact, it's insulting that you reduce it to just the salary. We are fighting for revitalization of the universities. We are fighting for autonomy according to best practices. We are fighting for a new payment platform, because the one that you have given to us has a lot of loopholes and is not along with international best standard for universities. So how do we still keep saying that ASUU is fighting for their pocket at this point?
So for those who are, those who are advocating that there should be a premium paid on education, that this continuous free education, almost free education in universities is not sustainable, those people would say, but you see, ASUU is even more of a patriotic platform, group of people than the government. They said, allow the universities design the solutions. IPPIS was designed with a foreign, and it's not even from a foreign platform, and it's not even a perfect platform. Use UTAS. We created UTAS. Let it even fail first. They are more patriotic. And that's, patriotism is what we are asking government to be. Patriotism would help us see things more clearly. If it is not for us, created by us, for our own people, we will leave it until we have better ways to do it. And only when we need to improve, let our people go and learn the skills and come back and empower our own. We've lost it. We are not getting where we want to get. Ojuti, you gongo na no get shame. That's all they say. A person that laughs at the failure of their, or the failures of their brother, or shame of their brother, the person is shameless. Yes, because the shame go later spread. Look at where we are today. Who values in Nigerian universities? Any Nigerian universities anywhere. And even these private so-called ones, it's just a guarantee that you graduate in 4 years that is valued. It's not that you get the best of education, that you meet the best. It's not for standard. And because of that shamelessness of our government, thinking, hey, it has to have a British name. You just came back from... That's why we are here. We are. And we are shameless. It should be paining every leader who has passed that Nigerian universities are now looked... People who went to the UI of UI then, people who called it cannot go there. Those people should be paid that glory is now in stories, as opposed to being the state and the present name of those schools.
Please let me take this call, Dr. Makinde. Good morning, Dr. Makinde. Do we have Dr. Makinde? I don't think we do. It's okay.
I was reading Goes to School, the case study of Innocent, and why Innocent started the motorcycle business. He said because everybody was selling fairly used motorcycle, and he felt Nigerians deserve to use a brand new motorcycle.
Yeah.
Why did he go into selling cars? Why must Nigerians keep buying
fairly
used cars? Nigerians deserve
to use new ones.
To use brand new cars. The founder of Construction Kaiser yesterday said why he started his business at 27 or 26 or 27. He said, as a young engineer, he went to site and he saw a white man. He mentioned the person and he was just smoking and was insulting educated Nigerians, engineers.
All them were
and
there.
He was insulting them. They were not even just
employed them as laborers. And so
they were engineers, graduate engineers, and insulted them. And he said, in my country. He said, in my country, I will show you how to treat Nigerian staff. And he set up his company simply because he was vexed that this is not the way to treat a Nigerian.
Patriotism.
In my country, you dare to come. Do you know that I was in Abuja over the weekend? All over Wuse-2, Maitama, you will see signboard. Have an alternative passport. Buy a second passport.
Yes, now
like
everywhere.
Is marketed in my country. You will tell me that my universities are not good and that if my children go to your own school, they will get better employment in my country. Who do you think you are? That leadership feeling of, I know what Nigeria can do. I am a product of Great Ife. I'm a product of LASU. I'm a product of UI. And UI can deliver more than your Cambridge, your Oxford if we give it attention. Let's go back to this school and make it work. That is leadership, I beg you.
But Tokwe, you cannot do that when you don't have a physical, there's no stake.
You
don't have a stake.
Feeling.
There's no connect. Your children are not there. You cannot have that when...
You must have feeling. That's why I say love.
Hold on. You cannot have that sort of feeling when you have an option. That's the problem. The leaders have an option to go outside. The Constitution allows that option for them. And so you cannot be divided and want to solve a problem somewhere.
I get you now. An option is a better word, but every Nigerian has a stake in Nigeria. In the Nigerian story. I always say it on this, but I must say this carefully. I was walking around Yaba. You know the way we used to go there, students to shop. And a foreigner, I don't want to mention country, he was walking like this, like
Buga.
With Buga. And he wanted to brush me. I say, in this country, we die here. I went back and used my gidigbo spirit to push the idiot out of the way. How dare you? This is my father's country. My ancestors were put here by God. He makes no mistake. But because of this mentality, this apologetic mentality of seeing ourselves as somebody did a comedy recently, and somebody was supposed to be angel and blow trumpets, and the skin color just changed. Why do we demonize ourselves? Say if God wanted to use human beings to do engineering, say they will never ever put people on black race. I don't understand. I don't get it. We need to change this mindset. We are good people. It was in the best of our economies, where when we focused on what God put inside of us, when we put dignity in the farming,
human value, when we
valued our human resources, when our people found respect in tilling the soil. Since we started to make excuses and say it's only white collar, if you go to university, you only learn arrogance like that way and see where we are. Do you know I'm a professor, and all you are
Professor
shouting
of what?
Of what?
What have you created as a
If
professor?
you put your name now, they call you Iyalole, farmer, this. My grandfather was known for farming. He was known to be wealthy, selling kola nuts, farming granite all the way up north, and going and coming. And there was respect then. Share the money that I'm bringing and shouting lawyer up and down. Can it change anything in this economy? We should start thinking, well, there's no dignity. Every Nigerian here is frustrated, insulting their country, constantly calling our government. Nobody is really have a respect for what they are having, what they have. They look at it and they compare it with foreign currencies and say, this is no value. And it's not paying the people in government and saying,
don't go there. I compared my money recently with foreign currency, and I was depressed for like
that time. My grandfathers did not know what dollar was.
Please let me take this
They
call.
only held their naira and it had value. They had to carry coins around, and coins had value. Today we are all.
We have Tim from the UK. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Tim. I don't think we have him. So I was saying recently that I compared my money. The money just entered the account, I now said, okay, let me change it and know what I'm worth. And for like a week, I was down. I was feeling very bad. And I was asking myself,
I'm working hard.
I'm working, I'm not sleeping. I'm working hard. I'm working back to back. I'm not doing, see, imagine people who are even doing one thing. I'm not doing one thing. So money is coming in from different angles. But even at that, when I put everything together, I just knew that we need to find something homegrown and find it very quickly so that we do not lose our value. Now, my question is, what will it take the federal government for ASUU to get back to school? What sort of conversations should we be hearing from the federal government that will show us that they are now ready? Or should we just assume that this is how it's going to be?
So I know that whatever happens, ASUU will not be on strike before election.
That's it.
You think they will settle that?
Whatever happens, it's about interest. When they realize that this interest of ASUU is going to conflict with their electioneering process and it might cost them the election, they will settle. Because at that point in time, it will get to them. But I think it's a willing mind. I've said it in several fora. A willing mind will find 1,000 ways. An unwilling mind will find 1,000 excuses. Yeah. So when you are willing, when you are ready, you will find a solution. And it might seem this is way beyond us, but when you are ready, when our government is ready to fix the issues within the health, the education sector, this education sector that I was talking about, this strike that is going on, when they are ready that we want to fix that problem, they will sit down with intention to solve the problem, not intention to get this person to compromise. I don't want to be the one to compromise. They must be the one to compromise. They should bend. Okay, let's give them money. At least if we pay their salary, they would go. We're just still trying to find ways to deal with fruits and not the root of the problem. Yeah. Until we're ready, we're not ready.
Yes. Let me take this call from John. John from Enugu. Good morning, John.
I want to make a few contributions. You know, with your discourse about the ASUU strike.
Go ahead.
Yes. I think our leaders, you know, they have failed us in this issue because they don't care of what the students and the parents are going through because they are not affected. Let's take, for example, about last month or last 2 months when we have, you know, the aviation fuel crisis or something like that. In less than a day or 2 days, they have really done themselves, solved the problem because they know if they stop flying up and, you know, they go by the road, you know, they might involve themselves, you know, in one kidnapping issue or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because they are not concerned about, you know, about the students and the parents, that is why they don't show any seriousness to make sure our students get back to school. It is just, you know, a shameful thing in this country. You know, for the whole university to go out of school for 6 months now.
All.
Yes. So I think the students and the ASUU, it is better for them to, you know, to stand on the ground. Let them solve this problem once and for all. Yes.
Thank you.
My own view,
Thank you so much for that. You know, you said something now that elections are around the corner, so likely there will be a resolution. But how does ASUU stand their ground in getting this resolution? That's how we will know if they are really serious about fighting for the universities. What are some of the things they should present? Are they going to now make a compromise because probably money will not flow in just before elections? Or they will still insist on everything that is needed to be done for them to get everything that they're asking for?
So a strike that has, you know, this is not the longest. We've seen the longest. We've seen a whole year of strike, I think, in Jonathan's time. And it was surprising how ASUU compromised and how we are now back where we are. So when Tokwe raised this issue, my head just do gagam. I imagine before elections that UTAS will be approved. Aside doing the calculations, they won't build the infrastructure, they won't invest the major amount. They'll do an MOU or another MOU and paperwork and say, okay, this is how we'll do it. And do just a fraction of that. And then ASUU goes back. And then we're back again saying we've not fully implemented the resolution. So I am scared that ASUU might. But what is most important is that if you want to fight, fight. It's just that the Nigerian parents now, NAPTAN.
The
students, NANS, all of them, everybody is already tired.
Yeah.
We should collectively fight this fight. Our universities have to be on the path to recovering their glory before we say this strike is over. A government who cannot see what ASUU is saying and saying, you are not even saying it better. Let's improve on what you're saying. This is the goal. It's a problem. This is not the government we should be negotiating anything with. On this one, even if we go into elections on a strike, ASUU should remain where they are until there's a concession and a proper plan so that Nigerian students don't come out of the strike
and then go back after
again.
A few months. I agree with you. Let's take this call quickly. Tim from the UK. Good morning, Tim.
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, first-time caller. I've been trying to...
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. You know, to be frank, regarding your discussion, you know, yeah, good morning.
Oh, you're listening to yourself.
Yeah, it's nice. In fact, I really appreciate your work. And in fact, you know, this is my first time calling. I've been calling, but not being able to get through, you know. You're
listening to your TV, sir. Listen to us directly.
Yeah. Okay, you see, regarding this issue, in fact, Nima really actually nailed it, the deal. Because our leaders, as long their children are not schooling in public schools, nothing is going to work. It's the same thing with the health system. And in fact, the disgrace the sort of leaders we have in that country. It's like they don't care about people at all. You know, they just care about themselves. And it's very disappointing that so we have leaders and a situation like this has been going on and nothing is being done, you know. In fact, my heart bleeds when I listen to your program and what is going on with this artist strike. It's like how people have been discussing. They don't really care at all, and it's it's a disappointment. Right from the top of the leaders to the lowest. You know, if their children are schooling in public school, all this mess will not be going. But because they don't care. And unless the youth really look into it, like the coming election, let them just put all these leaders up and then let's go past fresh leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. I was wondering, because I just remembered the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, where we're supposed to be working towards quality education, which is number 4. And I'm asking myself, do our leaders really have a clear understanding of what quality education means for a country as a whole? Do we have the people who are at the helm of affairs when it comes to the educational sector, do they understand the meaning of what is going on? And is it also wrong for ASUU to fight for autonomy? All over the world, universities have a form of autonomy where they are able to control, you know, what comes in, and that's how they are also able to find other avenues to get funds to fund the universities. So for me, I'm just hearing government saying, like, I can't take care of because this is government. The school is within the care of the government. It's a government school, government universities. So you're saying that I don't have money to take care of my own people. I don't understand. So the question is, do you think ASUU has a right to fight for their autonomy?
Fighting for autonomy for ASUU would be, we need to shred the entire fabric of the university structure in Nigeria. We need to go deep. They will need to change the laws. They will need to revisit how they earn, how the money flows in, create an entire structure. I think that's a long-term project.
Okay.
I think in the short term is to create a system where it's basic. When you go to school, you should be able to know that you're getting the quality education. The lecturers have said, for us to deliver this, give us better facilities.
Yeah.
And they've quantified how that would be. There was a conversation around TED Fund, and we know the way things are. And the NDDC is an example. You create an agency as an intervention to solve a problem. Then the agency will now have directors, board of directors, plenty staff, committee members, and then you will now have, like, when you check the revenue that comes into the agency, about 40% is going to cover running costs, and only 60% is going into infrastructure, actual development. Yeah. And even that 60%, a lot of bribes will take place within. So what gets to work is very small. that's the story of TET Fund. A few projects that you are seeing was a result of the TET Fund. We saw that, okay, these things can actually work. If all the money that goes in, so there must be a willingness in the government that every money that goes to the educational sector as an intervention on this thing, only 10% should go to running costs. Anyhow you want to be, make sure that you reduce your operations to the barest minimum and focus the money you're getting on impact-driven projects on ground. And release the funds. It is. I know that. I studied the numbers. I'm not an ignorant Nigerian talking. Yes, I understand that we don't have money in the economy, but I know for a fact that the elections going on in the next 1 year,
money will
billions
flow.
of naira will go to the
Let me pause
election.
you there.
So
let's take
priority on what
Sharon.
is most important to us.
Let's take Sharon from Lekki. I'll come back to you. Good morning, Sharon.
Hi, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thanks for having this very, insightful conversation this morning. I'm calling to ask 3 questions. First of all the money they've been recovering from looters, what are they doing with it?
One.
And second, all the money they've been recovering, recently from EFCC, from this person, billions of naira, all the donations they've been giving to other nations. What is federal government doing with it? That's one question. The second question is that the second contribution is that they do not care. Because if they care, I don't see how they will let young, innocent Nigerians stay at home for 6 months. It's not even, I cannot even think about it because nothing works. Nothing works at all in this country. Nothing works. If you have to put into context what the lecturers are asking for, they're not even asking for too much. They're not asking for anything. The only thing they're asking for is revitalize our university. Let there be development. That's all. So in their right senses, the federal government should not dialogue it. They should give them what they want and let the institution work. Nothing comes out from our university. If you go to engineering sector, they don't have anything working. If you go to the medical sector, they don't have anything working. How can our Nigerian youth even compete with the so-called universities abroad? When you think about what ASUU and the universities are dialoguing, you weep for this, you weep for Nigeria. Election is coming. I'm looking forward to what they are going to campaign with. If Nigerian students they've been home for the past 6 months, and we've had over 13 people single-handedly bought funds for 100 million, which is 1.3 billion naira. If that money alone, if a political party that is even in power will take that money and donate it to ASUU, it will solve half of the problem we are facing in this country. But who am I? We don't have anything to say. All we do is complain, and they never listen. Thank you.
Let's take some messages.
Chiedoze says, let's be honest, the issue of ASUU strike does not benefit just private schools, but schools abroad, UK, US, Canada, even Ghana. Let me add even Beneficiaries. People that can afford to send their children to private schools in Nigeria would rather send them abroad, draining our even scarcer forex services reserves. Festus Akiboyewa says, ASUU and federal government are not sincere, but it's the duty of the media to educate the public objectivity on ASUU's incessant strikes. If federal government can't implement the agreement in 2009, we are deceiving ourselves if we think that federal government can implement it in 2022 when our country is broke. Professor Imonoha Enahena says, state and federal universities should allow for minimal payment of school fees so that universities will become financially independent of government resources. Otherwise, this impasse between ASUU, NASU, and SANU and government will become recurring impasse. We must develop a national education plan with a team in place to end this perennial ASUU-NASU impasse that's resulting in strikes and enact feasible policies and programs to forestall further contract terms. This English big person in our ivory towers.
Yes, Mr. Cruz said Nigerian youth should go and learn handwork. After all, the expatriate them no even go big school before they make them. Nigerian governments don't care about the masses. Politics in Nigeria is a means to escape poverty, not caring about who voted you in. That's from Mr. Cruz. We have a lot of comments are just yabbing the government. I really would love us to have more engaging
comments.
Yes, more engaging. Let's engage our leaders. We can just, if we insult leaders, it will make us feel temporarily
How do we
good,
engage
but it
them
does
when
not
we
solve
don't
the
have a
problem.
sense that they are
There's a
listening?
tweet, this tweet that you jump, we'll take it.
Okay, take it.
Williams Olajumoke says, it's very obvious that education has never been the priority of our leaders. In time past, imagine if our airports are shut down because of strike for this long and they cannot move in and out of Nigeria. They will find solution
immediately.
Quick, they will find solution.
Let me even add to that, Nima. There are conspiracy theories. You know, I can be a conspiracy theorist sometimes, where it seems like there's a deliberate attempt to keep the poor. Because what we see is ASUU strike, a lot of poor people are not able to afford that education or go and graduate at the time they are supposed to. And by the time they are contemporaries, who are the leaders' children, graduate and come back from the Obodo Yibo studies and everything, they take up all the very good positions. And then the poor people are still left to struggle. How can the government prove to us that these conspiracy theories are not true?
See, if a government's child, a public office holder's child, or even any elite Nigerian child, schools abroad, get employed abroad. Yes. Because you see this mentality. Nigerians used to think that, going abroad was a thing. In the civil service then, when they had a lacuna in one department, they would send a Nigerian to go abroad. When he comes back with a wide foreign taste. And then he starts to see Nigeria as hard, as not up to his standard, and people started to carry the education that they use government resources to give them and move abroad. That's how this abroad thing started. Once you go abroad, your taste and lifestyle you start to say, no, this thing is not posh. The same shalanga you use when you were growing up becomes distasteful. Everything, even the place you used to eat, everything becomes distasteful.
So Kuku remained here.
You call it progress and modernity to hate the black pot your mother used to make you a call. And rather than create pots and create cooking utensils that, or things that will improve and leave it here, improve you move. You move your children and say, that suffer life. It's not for I suffered a lot. It's not for me. And you continue to leave your people backwards while you think you move one of yourself forward. And the same people sit abroad and be tweeting, Nigeria is a backward nation. God will catch all of them.
And judge them
all of them.
So I hear you, Nima, and I think that it seems like we're repeating the same thing, or like we've been saying this thing so many times. It's been 6 months that we've been on the matter discussing ASUU. I can, if you had told me like 3 months ago that we'll still be on this discussion, like we'll still be arguing, what should you give? Who should negotiate? I will say, no, I was there. They will resolve the issue. We are still on the matter till now. And it's just so saddening. When I was employing Rachel, who's a mass communication student of Unilag into Rep 360, I thought, your school is on strike, Abi. Just come. At least in the next few months, you'll be doing something in the office for me. Until she has become pro.
Wow.
In video editing, voiceover skills have come, which seemed to be a plus for her. But she's missing out on it. She's lengthening the timeline she would use to get.
She's getting education, yeah.
Yes, but many. It's the challenge is our leaders. I'm tired of pointing fingers and blaming. I wish I can just go there and just do one abracadabra, and everybody will their head will just screw on and they will focus on what can be done. Because I believe our leaders are very resourceful. We have smart people in leadership. Yes, smart people in leadership, and it's just the willingness to do the work. I don't know why we still have the same Minister of Education after so long, honestly. Sometimes if somebody is not working, you fire them.
The same one who stayed the workout on
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we probably look into solutions. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.